Hello, my name is Hassan Sorrells, and this is the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast, Shorts. There's no co-host on these Shorts episodes. These are now around 6 to 8 minute long observations, ideas, thoughts, or rants about the literature, philosophy, psychology, and yes, even the theology of leadership. Because listening to me talk about leadership for now, around 6 to 8 minutes, is still better than reading and trying to understand yet another business book. And I thought I saw a piggy tent. The language of leadership has been irrevocably changed by the presence, the overwhelming presence, of the satirical and the absurd. The language of leadership has been going all Looney Tunes, and it has been for some time now. Speaking of Looney Tunes, remember the dialectic of that show? No? Well, then let me remind you. From Bugs Bunny to Tweety Bird, the discourse of Looney Tunes, the show, was simple. One character proposes a scheme, a plan, or a purpose. Another character opposes that scheme, that plan, that purpose. And the unseen, unacknowledged viewer, with extra knowledge, extemporaneous and unknown to the two characters trapped in a cellular world, watches the scheme and the opposition unfold. And hilarity inevitably ensues, though not for the two characters involved in the plot. Most Looney Tunes cartoons ran for around 4 to 6 minutes. This temporal compression caused episodes to advance quite rapidly, with the action, humor, plot, and characterization established early, the climax hitting by about 4 minutes in, and then the denouement revealing itself at the close of the classic melody. Looney Tunes activated on all the senses of a kid between the ages of 6 all the way up to infinity. It was visually stunning art, classical music, cultural relevance, and of course plots that activated the brain with their monumental absurdity. Chuck Jones, the creator of many of the Looney Tunes and Merrie Melodies franchise characters, including the ones you know, directed the vast majority of the Looney Tunes and Merrie Melodies cartoons, along with Friz Freleng and others, starting in the late 30s and had a 40-year career, ending in the 1970s. Wandering tautologies, wildly hilarious contradictions, and dialectical plot styling based on raising an absurd premise to the level of taking it seriously, and then proceeding to destroy the premise utterly. And all in a running time that would make the modern Twitter and TikTok user sweat with impatience at its length, which is less a commentary on Looney Tunes or Merrie Melodies itself, and is more a commentary on where we are at right now with our hummingbird level of attention spans. This was Looney Tunes. But what does all this have to do with leadership and growing absurdity? Well, you may have learned, as I did, about classical music and classical gags from the gang at Looney Tunes, but what has happened in our real leadership culture overall is that the dialectic of the absurdity of not being questioned and instead being taken seriously has been elevated to the level of art in our particular cultural moment. A famous radio personality years ago used to claim that he, quote-unquote, illustrated absurdity by being absurd. Now, what was once absurd is seen as serious, and to even question the absurdity brings on accusations of intolerance, ignorance, or a lack of being innovative or on the cutting edge. But the thing is, regular people, far away from the cultural absurdity of social media platforms, journalism, the news media, and entertainment, well, for those regular people, absurdity is still viewed as being, well, a bunch of Looney Tunes when it is stated or proposed out loud. Culture doesn't change at the speed of a tweet, nor does it change because of subjective feelings that fly in the face of objective, observable facts. Leaders should take heart and avoid attempting to lead followers who insist, against good sense, mounting evidence and objective facts, on continuing to engage with absurdity and, of course, expecting a non-absurd outcome. Just remember, Acme is a terrible company to do business with. Leaders, stop leading Wile E. Coyotes around and leave off from chasing the Roadrunner. And well, that's it for me. Listen and subscribe to the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast on all the major podcast players that you listen to podcasts on, including iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and even Spotify. And please leave a 5-star review if you like the show. We need those reviews to grow, and it's the easiest way to make sure that this show gets into the ears of the leaders who need to hear it. And of course, tell all your friends. If you want to get started on the leadership path, HSCT Publishing's products and services can help your team do that. Check out our training webinars, coaching services, and more at leadershiptoolbox.us. We also have a video-based subscription service, that's software as a service, that can help your team become better at the individual level. 60 modules and over 100 hours of video and written content for you at LeadingKeys.com. That's LeadingKeys.com. We've also got books that will help you and your team grow. Pick up a copy today of My Boss Doesn't Care, 100 Essays on Disrupting Your Workplace by Disrupting Your Boss, and subscribe to the Little Red podcast I launched earlier this year with the same name as that Little Red book. My most recent book is 12 Rules for Leaders, the Foundation of Intentional Leadership, co-written with contributions from Bradley Madigan. This is the book for right now that was written for leaders right now. Pick up a copy by heading over to 12rulesleadersbook.com/now. That's 12rulesleadersbook.com/now. You pay for shipping, and you'll get a copy of my second book as well. Finally, you can get all these books in paperback, hardcover, or as ebooks on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and any other place online you order books. Finally, HSCT Publishing is on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the video version of the Leadership Lessons for the Great Books podcast on the HSCT Publishing channel on YouTube. Just search for HSCT Publishing and hit the subscribe button. You'll get our weekly video updates, which is the video version of this podcast. And, of course, you're going to want to subscribe to my other podcast. That's right, I do more than one. The Hasan Sorrells Presents audio experience, where I talk more casually with a broader range of people about all matters that matter in the world today, from arts all the way to analytics. All right, that's it for me.